tarot reading for the 27th of October until the 2nd of November. It's a general reading, so please take whatever resonates and leave the rest. I'm going to begin today with looking at some angel cards, just a little light touch for this week. Raise your vibration. Okay, so we'll get a bit more around what that means. Let's take one more angel card. Oh, expect miracles. So they're really beautiful energies for this week. Raise your vibration. I feel like the energies at the moment are potentially quite strong for many people, just with all the planets in Scorpio at the moment and the grand water trine for the end of October into November. I think that raising your vibration is really going to help you to be able to rise above everything that might be resolving itself within your body, particularly in your solar plexus, in your sense of self, that real comfort within your being, within your body. And it looks like there's a fair amount of bringing in what connects you to your divine, whatever you see as protective. Call that in this week, and that will really help you with any churning or anything that might be emotionally seated within that stomach area. There may be some people who are experiencing some level of movement, even physically within their stomach. So I really think that the way to combat that is to release anything that's not yours within your energy field and call in that bright white light. Call in that universal light and bring it down and out through your feet. That's really beautiful. And this one is expect miracles. So whilst you're protecting yourself, you can also just expect joy and miracles this week. That's a super beautiful card, and you can see that she's really open. So there's a real openness to how things come in this week. And part of it is that, connecting with the divine, trusting in the divine, and then expecting things to flow to you, and you're open to receive. Being open to receive is really important. So we'll just put those ones up there. Can we shuffle some tarot now? Show us clearly what we need to move us through the week to help guide us with these energies at this time. What would be helpful for us to have insight into this week? Show us clearly. So as always, I usually start with the beginning of the week, and we look at where you're sitting, where you're feeling, what energies you're with right at the moment, what might be blocking you or in your way, and what sort of outcomes or where you can move towards to have peace. Okay, we have some big energies this week. Okay, so we're starting off the week with a really light touch. This is a very new and fresh energy that you're sitting with. This is the Page of Swords, and she's on her toes and she's walking across that tightrope kind of, you know, between two things. So she's in between one thing and another, but she's very heavily guided by this new inspiration. So there's a lot of new wisdom that you may be cultivating, and you may feel quite strong in how you are approaching the new ventures that are pulling you forward in life. There's a really strong message here to key into your own intuition as you move forward, to keep really inspired by those light bulb moments. So keep inspired by the things that are lighting up for you, and they are coming directly from your guidance, from your intuition. They are really helping you to move from one thing to another. So there is perhaps something that could be, you know, holding you back from that movement forward. It could be a little bit of racing ahead too quickly, perhaps as an element of not quite believing in your intuition and the guidance. So there's a bit of perhaps you know, pieces for you that are coming together in terms of how strongly you feel within yourself. So your self-confidence is really what's key here to lift you up and to give you that sense that you can continue forward from, you know, something that wasn't exactly inspiring to moving towards something that's a lot more aligned with who you are and what you're becoming now. And it feels like there might be, you're right at the beginning, so there might be a need to perhaps sit with the energy a little bit more. So there's a bit of a conflictual feeling, something new, something at the end, and also with this Nine of Pentacles, it's a culmination. Like, things do feel like they have come to a final point of abundance. Like you've come to a point where you feel quite confident in what you've created, in how you present yourself in the world, and this is really growing, particularly even more towards the end of the year. This card always reminds me of Christmas, with the Christmas decorations, and it's a really natural way of connecting. So connecting with abundance very naturally is what I always get from this card. So maybe it hasn't been that easy for you to connect with your abundance, with your self-worth, with your sense of self. And, you know, that takes a little bit more perhaps contemplation, and perhaps you have felt a little bit alone in your journeying, and it's important to allow things to percolate, allow things to be as they are. So you might be sitting between two worlds. You might be in this space of, I know I'm being pulled forward, and I know some things have kind of come to the end for me. And so perhaps take the time to stop and celebrate what you have achieved and the growth that you've come to within yourself. It's too easy to rush forward. Most of us are always rushing towards the next thing. What's the next? What's the next? However, it's so important to give yourself the chance to celebrate and name what you've created, name what it is that you have contributed and created for yourself. And there's a tune to Tuesday. There's a fair bit of she's really feeling quite bound up by a few things, and she's been spending some time here looking and contemplating, and it really has come to the point where things are ready to be freed up. She's ready to free up her time. She's ready to free up her spirit. She's really ready to open out into this new way of being. And there might just be that last remnants of perhaps showing you what things that really were annoying and what things were holding you back and what things have weighed you down. Sometimes we contemplate those things before we just kind of say, cut it, break loose, let's cut free now. And you have to be in that space just that little bit longer in order to actually, not wait around for someone to do it for you, but actually take up the action yourself. Have the courage to say, enough of this. So I feel like there's a little bit of enough of this energy on Tuesday. It doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be grand statements. It can be quite a gentle movement, but as you can see, this lady is very, very lightly bound with the string, and her eyes are closed, and she's lightly held by the past beliefs, by her past things that held her back, weighed her down, the thoughts, the way that she created life from a restrictive place within herself, that this is ready to break free. And you may feel like you need to really sit with your emotions a little longer. There may be a sense that the emotion that you feel is hard. There may be a sense that, it feels difficult to transform. It feels difficult to move into these new directions and new places, but you have slowly created them for yourself, and you may actually find that there are still other things that are coming through for you. Sometimes we make choices and then we reconsider, we recontemplate, we, think about new horizons again, and that's fine. It's fine for you to reconsider either the choices that you have made, or how you'd like to actually continue to climb. And sometimes you begin something and then you say, right, I'm ready for my next. You've only just started. That happens sometimes, and it's totally okay for you to recalibrate, rethink, and not think that sitting with the emotions is a difficult or is a place that you shouldn't be going. So sometimes we get caught in shoulds and what we should be doing or where we should be in our lives, and this period is not a period of shoulds. This period is a period of going deeper. It's a period of really gently being with yourself. I think the early part of the week you may feel that there is a lot of heavy emotion. There is a fair amount of I really sense a really karmic and ancestral, there's an ancestral being here that wants to talk to you about what it is that you can let go of. So usually what it is that is coming up here is that what you need to let go of is a part of you that you didn't want to perhaps let go of. And it's okay to do that. It could be part of a grieving process. We can sometimes grieve the parts of ourselves that we don't need anymore. We don't have them anymore. It's parts of ourselves that we had for survival in the past, but we don't need that survival anymore. We don't need to keep repeating the patterns of, the nervous system needing to just go into its same old. Your body now is ready to be nourished, and your spirit wants to connect with all the parts of you, your wild self, your intuitive parts. And this is really, it's a strong energy, and it's about really letting go. And I also think that it's about speaking up for who you are becoming. The Two of Swords, so this is sort of a Wednesday, Thursday energy. This is, again, there's this sort of, can I really see where I'm going? Am I really trusting my intuition? There seems to be a lot of chitter chatter around the mind. Go this way, go that way. There's something that's sort of, there's two parts here that you seem to be perhaps going back and forth with and getting caught in. And I think that she is almost, she knows that she only needs to lightly loosen that grip that she's got. So loosen your grip on perhaps, whatever chitter chatter is in your mind. I really think that by the middle of the week, if there is that feeling of continuing to ask, is it this way or that way? Should I go this way or should I go that way? Am I moving in the right direction? And there's a real sense of something's transforming and there is a direction shift, and it is the time for many of you to create that change. However, there's still a little bit of unseen that you're not sure on in making a decision. So perhaps wait for that to come. It looks like towards the end of the week, there is a turning point. There is much more of a movement towards your goals and towards being quite light and enlightened. We have the beautiful sun here, which is in the position of what might be an obstacle. So I would read this as the obstacle could be you. You could be standing in your own way of being your own brilliant self. So perhaps you are the one who is, grasping for the right decision. And maybe there is no right decision. Maybe it's just about you enjoying the space that you're in and enjoying your body, enjoying being alive at this time, feeling grateful and allowing abundance to come in through that ability to receive. So wherever you feel like you might be blocking receiving, have a little look at that this week. Maybe you could do some work or some clearing or some kind of prayer, and that opening up like we had with the raising your vibration. It's really the week for some meditation and some contemplation, and the meditation will really lift you. It's a lot about your mind trying to make the right directions, to reach out in ways that feel like they're going to support you in the future. We have a fair bit of contemplation and reconsidering around what lights you up, what makes you tick, what you want to grow into. And you might not quite feel like you've achieved that yet. You might feel a little bit like things are still growing and you can't actually see what's underneath the surface yet. You can't see what's taking root for you. And so it's a lot about faith and trust. But you have got a lot going for you. You have really planted a lot of seeds. You have to be really grateful for what you have already put down for yourself. And these are things you have laid foundations for yourself for. So they're physical foundations, they're spiritual foundations, they're psychological foundations, and they're about home, they're about family, and they're also about ancestry. There's just so many layers to the energy that you are moving with this week. And when things are beneath the surface and we can't see them, people get scared. And it's okay to think, oh, have I done the things I could have done well? Have I done my best? And this can leave you a little bit paralyzed sometimes, but just remember to focus on the very small things that you have grown. Have a look at what you have started. Have a look at what little pieces that you have been placing one after the other, after the other. I'm really called to say something that my grandfather used to always tell us when we were younger, and he used to always say, you know, to save kiddo, you just put one bill and then you put the next bill after the next bill, and then you just go. So you put money down one after the other, and it does eventually grow. So there's something about you trusting in the things that you've laid foundation for, and contemplate how you can improve that. Thursday, Friday energy is quite a turning around, and yeah, you've mastered a little more by the end of this week. So by Friday there is a sense of, I can handle all the complexity. I can handle the complexity in my world, in the world at large, in the things that are occurring in the world around us that we have no control over, in the outcomes that we have no control over. You start to see that actually there's magic in that. There's magic in you giving over some of your control and really dancing with the energies as they shift and turn. You know, when we're in motion, if we were to stop and, you know, if this person here is dancing on these rotating discs, if she doesn't have a lightness about her touch and her step and her movement, she's going to fall off and things are going to tumble down. When things are in motion, you keep moving. And this is a really strong indication that you've reached a certain point, and keep going. The wheel keeps spinning. You keep moving as you grow more in your sense of yourself, in your knowledge that you're creating this magnificent life for yourself, and in the thoughts that you hold about yourself is super important. You know, your magic is strong, your magic is deep, and it's very much enhanced by the thoughts that you have and the thoughts that you put out there about others, about what you encounter. And again, there's this feeling of connecting with the divine so that you can emphasize the good thoughts and restrict and let go of the ones that have been dominating your life up until now. You know, this is not a time to keep going with those things that you held on to in the past. There's one particular thing that I get a sense this week that a lot of you will be letting go of, something that's held you captive in your mind. So something that really stopped you from being that one who danced on those moving cyclical changes in life. Someone who, you know, can move nimbly, can, you know, adapt and recognize their own power in creating the life that you want. It's so much more empowering to you than holding on to something that creates pain for you, and perhaps there's been a painful pain point in your family history. So there may be something in your family history that has dominated many people through many lifetimes, through many generations, and it's time to draw on your wisdom, your magic, your lightness. So your lightness of touch, just remember that you have the ability to turn things around. You have the ability to create magic and claim it for yourself, and you are claiming it for yourself. You are focusing on that light. You're focusing on that warmth, the generosity of spirit that you have. You're focusing on that decadence, that calmness. This is a Wands energy, and it's Queen of Wands, but it's reminding me a lot of that balance of the Scorpio energy with Taurus. The Taurian is comfortable in their body. They're sitting in a comfortable chair. they're feeling their skin in, a delicious furry beanbag, and they have the cat there, also just showing how to be in the world, showing how to chill, showing how to radiate all of that comfort and just the beautiful sensual nature here. I feel like balance out things with your inner magic comes from being comfortable in your skin, and also balancing out the energies that are around. So if there's a depth of energy that takes you into places where your mind is struggling, or you can't see things and you're worried about it, just remember to balance it out by nurturing yourself. Do some of those yummy things that the Taurian energy would indulge in, and just sit quietly in that place. Sit quietly with yourself, and there is your magic. There is your power. There is the inspiration. There is it's all of it is there. I feel like there's this coming together of everything by the end of the week, very calmly, very quietly. But it comes through being okay with sitting with some of the darker things, sitting with some of the things where you can't work it out, sitting with not quite being able to see what's growing underneath the surface, sitting with yourself and tapping into the joy. Through tapping into the joy, it's a whole new beginning with how you communicate and how you see yourself in the world. So there's new inspiration here. There is a lot of frequencies of change. I feel like there's a frequency change this week. It's a very interesting time, and this kind of Friday into the weekend, there is something that's quite opening for your being, and it's trying to get you to change your mindset, and it's like it's happening quite naturally. The more you meditate this week, I really feel it's a week for meditation, drawing in the light, raising your vibration, expecting the best, expecting like miracles, things that you couldn't even imagine would be possible for you. And part of that is just that really trusting that as you're at peace, the new inspiration just dives into your being, and it starts to guide you. And with that is sometimes that when things new that come in, there's sense of new self that begins, and then as the new self starts to awaken, it's like it has to shake away. It's like a shake away the dead wood, shake away that pain that you've surfaced yourself from. Any kind of recurring patterns, they're ready to be moved on, and they're ready for you to reconnect with that part of yourself that feels joyous and it's like infinite connection, infinite joy, infinite knowledge about how things transform. It's this energy towards the weekend is one of real quiet elation and rising, through things that you've let go. You really will rise in your vibration, and this only leads you to places that make more sense to you as you move forward. It's a moving forward energy into realms that feel way more substantial to you, that connect you more to who you truly came here to be. These energies are not small energies this week, and it's really, there's some substantial reconnection to yourself. It might be a little bit out of the depths that some of you feel like you may be, not quite able to see clearly, not quite able to get to where you want to be within your being and your mind. There really is the opportunity to shift it this week and to come into a new stable sense of what do you believe, how do you think about things? How do you think about the world? How do you think about yourself? This is liberating. And that's where you manage to be with all of the energies, by understanding that there is a liberation, there is a moving forward from one place to another. It's a really liminal space that you might feel like you're in this week, so real in between. And also you'll get a lot of signposts and a lot of indication around moving through and how you're doing it skillfully and artfully. And I would really like to just go back to these two and say, connect in with whatever it is that makes you feel like you can expect miracles. Because why not? That's what I have for you this week. I hope you've enjoyed the reading, and till next time.